Hi, I'm Ray, and you're listening to Insert Quest here. Today's quest is Worldwide Wrestling, and my pronouns for today are he, him. So, for those that don't know, Worldwide Wrestling is a wrestling RPG. It has some pretty interesting mechanics, which we'll get to. Um, there is something of a inter-podcast wrestling series going on. There's a bunch of loosely connected games. Um, we do ours a lot more rarely than the others, and so we have themed our wrestling accordingly. We'll get to a little bit more of that in a second, but let's have our players introduce themselves and their wrestlers, starting with Adam.
Hello, I'm Adam. I'm from the Role Playing Exchange, and I will be using the him, her pronouns. Thanks for having me over, Ray. Looking forward to this.
Him, her.
I'd messed that up. He, him, I'm sorry.
I mean, I know people that use him, her pronouns. So they use she and her and he, him at the
I, th-
same time. So that's
I,
what I wanted to clarify.
I think I rode over to when I was an English teacher, and I was just going over gonna do a whole mini lesson on pronouns, I'm afraid.
So he, him pronouns for you today.
Yes,
Wonderful. And what's your wrestler?
I will be playing Moonshiner Joe. He is a monstrous hillbilly character from the hills of eastern Kentucky, so I don't have to do anything with my accent. And yeah, his whole gimmick is kind of the 1980s-ish hillbilly gym style that was in the WWE, which was the WWF back in the day.
Mm, cool. Wonderful. Uh, who would like to go next?
I will do so.
Cool.
This is Micah, and I will be playing Shandy Isles of New York City. He is the veteran class, a hardcore veteran who has with him the ever famous and totally not stolen Steelman Joe, a steel chair with a smiley face plastered on it.
Excellent. And what are your pronouns today?
I am a he and him.
Wonderful. Now, my understanding is that Stillman Joe was out with an injury.
And unfortunately, a couple of matches back, old Steelman and Shandy were having a match. Things were going good until the end when the pin came down from the. Let's see here. They were performing their newest finisher, the get it up for me, the Steel Island Falls. But unfortunately, due to the impact, one of Steelman's paddings or butts came out. So unfortunately, he separated a chair limb and has been out with an injury for a while now. Though Steelman got ahead of himself, he actually has a replacement in who's the tag team partner with Shandy right now, the Nameless Enforcer.
It'll be interesting to see if we have an opportunity to include the Nameless Enforcer.
Hmm.
Um, and whether he can live up to the pedigree of uh, the strongest wrestling chair in this or any league. Um, but
It's been a little well. It's been a little weird. We think that since they've earned their first championship, the World Tag Team Championships, Steelman unfortunately has been letting it go to his head. When last people saw him, he was out. He had just gotten a new gold finish done to his chair and has been wearing some pretty fancy furs around him.
I really want Steelman Joe to use the wasted playbook. Anyway, uh, uh, and lastly, who else do we have joining us?
Hello, my name is Jared. I'll be using he, him pronouns, and I am debuting the character Shining Ryan Starr. He's a golden boy uh, with a Hollywood, not celebrity, but like lifestyles of the rich and famous, glitz and glamour kind of
Hmm,
gimmick.
is that
Uh,
is that your intro?
what's that?
Is that your intro? Lifestyles of the rich and famous.
No,
Oh
no,
God!
no. Much better than that. His intro is a hair metal
Well,
cover of the song "Shining Star," but we can get to that.
all right. Well, we'll get to that, and maybe we'll try and put together a playlist after the fact. Fantastic. So thank you all for joining us. It's been some time since the International Quarterly Hurtfest was able to broadcast, a bit longer than a quarter, due to some legal troubles after their last match. As some of you who follow, as the dedicated fans would know, the International Quarterly Hurtfest is normally broadcast from a stadium in the Philippines, but due to legal trouble, it is now broadcast from a decommissioned shipping container, shipping container ship. So a container ship that is registered to a landlocked Eastern European country. Well, Eastern European, former Soviet republic, that sort of Asian steppe countries. Unclear whether the country that it is registered out of even still exists legally, but regardless, it's registered out of there. And so tonight marks the first broadcast from the new solely owned stadium in international waters, solely owned by the International Quarterly Hurtfest Broadcasting Company and wrestling, what is the word that I want? Dojo. So that is something of an event, but also it marks the first broadcast since the new owners of the Azure Jewel, that mystic gem that bestows incredible wrestling power to whomever holds it, has come into our new owners. It's the first match since they have taken possession of the Azure Jewel. So Comrade and Uno are the new co-consuls of the International Quarterly Hurtfest. And in order to give their new subjects an opportunity to prove their worth and loyalty to continuing to receive the benefits of the Azure Jewel, that mystic force that makes the IQH wrestlers the unstoppable force that they are, they will have to prove themselves in a specialty exhibition match against some of the best wrestlers that were available to be flown to an shipping container ship in the middle of the Pacific Ocean on such short notice. So tonight's match will be a Titanic throwdown, where three uninitiated wrestlers from different leagues will be standing in the middle of the ring, and it will be the IQH's entire roster's sworn duty to throw them over the ring into the waters below. We'll get to the specifics of that in a minute, but I'd like to break kayfabe a little here, and on the plane, the private jet flying out. Actually, no, it's not a private jet. On the fucking rickety ass World War II seaplane flying out here. It's more rickety than the seaplane from Waterworld. And weirdly, the pilot also looks like Jack Black. What are the three of you and potentially your managers talking about as you're flying out to this thing?
So here's the legal
Well-
waiver. Now make sure that anybody that dies upon this plane is not going to sue us. Says the first thing the manager said before we got on the plane. We have all yet to sign. Sorry for jumping in
Yeah.
there.
No, I think that's appropriate. So before I answer the question about what we're talking about, I've got these heat questions that I think I need to sort out so I can establish what my relationships are with my
Yes,
comrades on this
that's
flight.
an excellent point. Actually, let's do your heat, and then we'll get into this weird air flight.
All right. So the first question I'm asking is definitely who has taken me under their wing.
Have either of you taken this wrestler under your wing? What was your wrestler's name again?
Ryan Starr, Shining Ryan Starr.
Shining Ryan Starr.
I mean, that's not his real name, but his real name, if it comes up, we can deal with.
I'll take that, as I'm the veteran and usually try to give you all the wisdom I can to the next guys coming in.
Awesome.
Cool. What's your next
And
question?
it's a tough toss-up here between who's jealous of my rapid rise and who has taken it upon themselves to teach me a lesson in the ring.
Ooh.
If either of those speak to either of you.
Yeah, are either of you interested in having that heat?
I'll take that one again.
I've taken you under my wing, but also
he's got if you're familiar with it, Tanahashi and Naito from New Japan. Tanahashi's always been the ace of the promotion for years. When they tried to bring Naito in, he was the babyface, he was the protege, but everyone still wanted Tanahashi. So it kind of rubbed the guy the wrong way. So kind of a reverse thing is it's actually working. The new guy's getting more over, but it's rubbing Shandy a little rough.
Okay, I like it.
Hi, Moonshiner Joe.
Would you prefer, man?
No, go for it. I like the story. That's
God,
rich. I mean,
I was going like, so you said, "Hi, Moonshiner Joe." Go, oh crap, Adam, I'm sorry.
it's fine. No, take it, dude. Like, you had a good story. I mean, mine would have been like, I want to hit him in the face. So yeah, that's cool.
After all, his bragging about that beautiful face is just really annoying.
Though I would like to do a quick callback to as I was looked at this character sheet, because I believe that I played against the Azure Fist at one point in time, and apparently on my sheet I have that he made me look weak in a toe-to-toe.
Yeah.
So
I actually listened to that.
So you might have signed on as an opportunity to get back. Like the Azure Fist thinks he can just go and die, get out of a rematch. Oh no!
I mean, honestly, we should all just get Azure Fist written down and put one, so that way we have heat with the guys coming in, because they're all supposed to be quote unquote the Azure Fist. Or at least two of them are rumored to be.
Yes. So you do know that within the inner circle of the International Quarterly Hurtfest, before the restructuring of the league, so to speak, there was the Azure Fist, and then the Azure Fist had lieutenants. And you know that of those lieutenants, the two that are still around would be, and the two that the fans are most interested in are Mighty Waverlight and Hexagonite. The fans are really into them because they have that. Those two both have that mystic flair that everyone really liked about the Azure Fist, that set the Azure Fist apart from other wrestlers. That made it, like, even though sometimes the Azure Fist wasn't a nice character or a good person, everyone was still really enjoyed rooting for them as a wrestler because he always brought that dramatic flair. Even when he was on other people's fighting with other leagues, he'd always insist on bringing that mystic flair to the arena. Everybody likes getting showered in sparks. So, but I think we see this rickety seaplane approaching, and the pilot, and we hear the pilot say, "Oh, all right, so we're going to be coming in for a landing in a minute. You guys might want to buckle up and get your bath bags ready. Landings have never exactly been my specialty, and I'm even worse at landing at sea."
Shandy, okay. Look, I know that you said that you had a plan to help get me over and book me on some big jobs, but what the hell is all this, man?
Okay, kid. Both Moonshiner and I can both tell you, at times, you got to do the crazy stuff. How you holding up over there, Moonshiner? How's the Colonel?
The Colonel, for those of you not up with the Moonshiner mythos, as we will call it from now on, is his pet chicken that he carries around. The Colonel, he's got 11 herbs and spices that are, it's a live chicken, by the way. But the Colonel is kind of cradled in his arm, and he's got like a little itty bitty baggie on his face. Not like, sleep kind of, thing.
It's in case the chicken throws up, which I don't even know if chickens can do.
Well,
like
I
to
guess
point
we're
out,
gonna find out.
If I recall correctly, the chicken's got this like massive scar, wasn't it? Or was
Yeah, it has a big scar.
yeah.
Now,
So,
I'm doing.
just
No,
no, go ahead.
one sec. I'm doing all right, but but Colonel, I don't know what he's going to be doing in a moment here. He's got a gizzard, and I don't know if that like messes with the upchuck, but
The plane starts to like swoop down towards the thing, and you hear the pilot say, "Oop, a little bit too steep."
you hear a small retching sound from in the bag. The answer provided.
I like to imagine I'm just kind of going. You're just the Moonshiner just sitting there like, huh? This is just Tuesday.
Yep.
The plane
And Ryan, despite his arrogant in-ring persona, is actually like kind of mild-mannered backstage. He's had this role thrust upon him, so he's just like white-knuckling the seat, the seat armrests, going, "Oh my God, what am I doing here?"
Okay, now, remember, kid, if we do involve a situation where it is a dive out or die, remember the tuck and roll, and don't be afraid of the tire burn.
You splash down,
Tuck and
and
tire burn,
a little Zodiac comes over to the seaplane and like ties a rope around it. And they start like winching you closer to the boat, and then they like lay out a something of a gangplank, and bring you aboard.
It's just 3 2x4s nailed together.
There's a lot of no. It's more like a rusted fire escape that somebody cut off of a building with an oxy torch.
I feel more comfortable now with the 2x4s.
They bring you across, and they show you to your dressing room, and they start telling you about the match and getting you ready. And they're like, now remember, this is the most important thing before we go out there. You're going to be given the opportunity to pick who you get to fight to begin with. Now we're going to be sending the entire roster against you, but you need to pick at least one of these 3 wrestlers for your initial round. You have to have either Mighty Waverlight, Hexagonite, or Yara El Sharifi in that initial bout. You have to pick them out of the crowd, no matter how large the crowd is. You have to pick at least one of those. If you don't, then the entire creative plan is going to fall apart, and you will not get your match completion bonuses if our plan falls apart.
Got it.
The plane didn't fall apart. The plan won't fall apart.
The plan won't fall apart. your league will fall apart. All right, that's great. Save it for the show.
So, when you say the entire roster,
Yeah.
oh,
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna send the entire roster. We're gonna be bringing back some old favorites, some new up and comers. We have made preparations for the co-consuls to get involved, but we'll see what happens.
Welcome to an
So-
elimination match, kid. The eliminators are the ones they need to eliminate. Us.
okay then.
Yeah.
hmm.
I feel like we're back in Japan, Moonshine.
I feel like I'm back at the tent revival.
Oh God! Don't bring that one up. Don't bring that one up.
Now we have we do want to make you aware that while the ring is suspended over a pool of water, and it is sufficiently deep enough to break your fall, we're going to be retracting the gangplanks after you three are in the ring for your safety. Our wrestlers are trained and have rehearsed swinging via ropes into the ring. Y'all haven't had the proper WHS training for that, so we won't be able to. We can't have the three of you do that. So we're going to be retracting the gangplank, so there's less chance of you falling and hitting them when you get thrown out of the ring. So you'll be able to plummet into the water. And like, even though we're going to be playing a lot of grinding sounds as we open the bottom of the ship to the ocean, don't worry. There's no chance of you actually falling out of the boat. No, we don't want to. We don't want to. I mean, sell it obviously, but don't panic and freak out. So once you get into the water, fake your drowning. We have scuba divers in the water to put you with masks so that we can fake your death, and then you can turn back up on your own show in a miraculous survival. Whatever. We don't. That's for your creative to sort out. On our show, you're drowning to death if you go into that water. Got it? All right. Good. Excellent. Any questions before we get you ready? Oh, also, audience, only our premium members are here. Those that have paid to go on the wrestling cruise experience and have been brought to the set. So when you're outside of your dressing room, you need to be in character at all times. If they run into you, they think they're running into your character. So dressing rooms, this is the only place you're safe. This deck of the ship is safe. Any deck above or below, you're in character the whole time until we fly you out. Got it?
Got it.
That's
Got
my
it.
trick. That's my trick, Captain. I'm always in character.
That's what I like to hear. This is why I
So-
like working with you veterans, none of these new upstarts from around the world, they say. Making quotation marks as most of the roster is pulled from Australia.
So, are we being given like promo time or anything, or are we
Oh,
just
yeah,
like diving right into it?
You'll definitely have promo time. We're going to get to that in a minute. I was just wanted to make sure that you were aware of everything, but get comfortable,
Okay.
and in a couple of hours we'll get started. So,
All right.
and I guess,
Shandy will look over to the Nameless Enforcer and say, "Okay, kid, you know the drill. If there comes a time, we may need you, but for right now, Moonshiner, do you want him to carry the belt for you? You feel comfortable carrying yours?"
Hell, that's the only thing holding my pants up. I better keep it.
I assume I assume that at the moment it is unclear. You're purposefully obfuscating who the unknown enforcer is.
Yes,
Okay.
he's supposed to be a non-player wrestler who will eventually become a character, but for right now, he's the big, strong muscle that's always going to be fighting my bouts for the regular shows, not the pay-per-views.
All right, excellent. Well, then I trust you to work that in at your leisure.
Alright.
So
Don't
Is
worry.
Is his ring name actually Nameless Enforcer?
Right now, because his identity is hidden, he is the Nameless Enforcer. It's like if you ever
Okay.
play any WWE 2K game, sometimes there's that option where you say the blank person, where they'll just say a random thing, and that's what he is right now. Is
Okay.
the Nameless Enforcer.
Cool. So, who? I guess it's time to ramp up for the match. I guess I should be putting on my announcer voice quickly. So
Before we do that, do we want to do 3 individual promos, or do we all want to get together into one massive promo?
yeah, that's
'Cause
that's
if-
something you two can decide.
Because if I recall, both Moonshiner and Shandy, technically, our championships are part of the same wrestling promotion that Lionheart's the grand champion of, isn't he?
Yeah, the technical diff one. What's hers called again?
I'm trying to remember.
What? TDW?
Totally
Total Domination.
Yeah,
Total Domination. Yeah, because we're representing Total Domination right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
that does make a certain amount of sense.
So I'm in favor of us
roll
just.
for it because I'd like to have the opportunity to get the advantages.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, you
We
can
could-
cut individual promos. I don't know.
Well,
What
I'm
were
all
you
in
going to say,
favor.
Adam?
I was
Okay.
gonna say, if you all want to do it individually, it's fine, or we could just riff off of each other. That would be fun too.
All right. Well,
Yeah, I kinda
Ryan,
like
since you want to do just riff off each other, but do individuals.
Yeah, we'll do individual roles on us riffing together.
Okay.
Cool.
And this
So,
work. Okay.
you know, the audience at home and in the arena sees the title credits for the wrestling role, and then they see that kind of like, what happened last time sort of deal. It's like, oh yeah, the Azure Fist was defeated, gave up their powers, and finally found a worthy successor to inherit the control of their mystic force. And are told it's like and so finally, after months of preparation, it's time for another international quarterly Hurtfest. This time, our new co-consuls, Comrade and Uno, have put together a titanic throwdown so that our wrestlers can show their devotion to their new rulers. In order to earn the right to keep the mystic powers of the Azure Jewels that have been bestowed upon them, they shall fight against the greatest wrestlers from across the world. And so, without ado, let us begin. And so we cut to the announcer box, where we say, and we see a figure with spiked up like Pikachu hair.
Nice.
And and they have the look of someone that is in their 30s playing a teen. It's like, hello there, boys and girls. I am Elector, one half of the hydrodynamic duo, the former champions of the aquatic wrestling force. Now, of course, the hydrodynamic duo is now retired from wrestling, retired champions. And so I've decided to come on down to where I cut my teeth, the International Quarterly Hurtfest, and I'm here to help out with Comrade and Uno's first match. So I'm going to be one of your announcers tonight, and they sort of gesture towards this like skybox, and we see Comrade and Uno looking down on the crowd, and the wrestlers say, Comrade and Uno will be observing the ferocious forces below, and ensuring that their power is rightfully earned. But right now, I believe someone backstage wishes to talk to the stable of our fantastic IQH wrestlers. And so then we cut to backstage. Who wants to cut this promo?
Okay, I can.
What's
So it cuts to Moonshiner Joe. He is like, we're doing this together, right, guys?
yeah? So it'd
Oh, yeah.
be let's say Moonshiner's in the center because he would be the big man. Then you've got Ryan. What was it? What was the full title again?
Ryan Star. I mean, yeah, Shining Ryan Star.
Star.
Shining Ryan Star. Got it.
You don't have to call him that every time, but it plays into his theme music.
You call
So
him
it's all over all the
Shining, or
branding.
Ryan, or Star, or
Like-
Twinkle, if you want to insult them.
Actually,
I got
that'd be a great way to insult him.
All right, so as you get the shot of the three wrestlers, Moonshiner right in the lead, in the center, he steps forward towards the camera and looks at it, gives a mean face, and goes, "I've come here to catch catfish and kick ass, and I'm in the wrong bio-ecosystem," or something like that. A lot of big things have happened out here on this water, like Moby Dick, Jaws, Jaws 2, Jaws 3.
Deep Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea, Megalodon, and all that kind of things. But it's all been leading up to one thing. Me, Moonshiner Joe, out on the seven seas. Oh, I only think I'm in one at this exact moment. We may drift. Who knows? But I'm here as your fist. He started some stuff back in the day, and he's just decided to poof and die. Well, you don't get out of this debt by death, I tell you what. So I'm going to go after the first SOB with his power. I think I'm going after Waverly Lights because that's the only name here that I can pronounce. And he steps back.
Okay.
All right, see, I am
Nice.
rolling look, I
Roll
guess.
your look.
All right. And I rolled an 8. So
Nice. On a 7 to 9, you get them to pay attention. Pick one from the list below.
okay.
So you can add a stipulation to the match, you can gain momentum, or you can gain heat with the subject of your promo. In this instance, I would say you're gaining heat with
I
the
agreed.
The
entire
locker
stable.
room. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're getting the locker room.
Oh, no, actually, you did name Waverlight, so I would say you
Yeah.
gain heat with Waverlight.
Sounds good.
All right.
Oh,
And who else did
so-
we need to call out? Was it was Waverlight and who else?
Hexagonite,
Hexagonite
and
and Yara.
was there? So, are you picking gain heat?
Yes.
All right, cool. So just mark that. Cool. And who wants to go next?
I think I should go next because I feel like Shandy Isle is the big name, and it makes more sense to end on him
Sure.
than to end on me.
Sure.
All right.
So
Shandy's. Oh, sorry, no,
go-
it's Shandy's about to step forward when you put when the shining Ryan Star puts a hand on him. Shandy goes, yeah, no, you take kid.
and Ryan is in full gimmick right now, which at the moment, especially because he's on a pay-per-view, means he is wearing gleaming metallic gold tights with stars on the sides and this ridiculous hooded fake leather vest, which I've just linked in the chat.
A hooded pleather vest.
Just
Oh.
click the link. It's every bit as good as it sounds.
I am here for it.
And a pair. Yep. And here's the tights. And a pair of mirrored sunglasses. And he is looking as smug as if The Miz and 1994 Shawn Michaels had a baby together.
God, you're almost like a cross between Will Ospreay and Dolph Ziggler to me.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So you grab the camera's attention, and what are you saying?
He dramatically pulls off the shades, grabs the mic, and says, "Listen, that big dumb hillbilly has a point. But you've got more to worry about than people with a grudge from 20 years ago. See, to get onto this ship today,
but I love it.
to get here today on this ship, I had to face my former tag team partner, Miggy Moondust, one-on-one and stab him in the back to his face.
I love that line. Yeah.
And if I'm willing to do that to my friends, just imagine what I'm going to do to everybody waiting back in the locker room right now. But I do have one person back there who I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Yara El Sharifi, I'll see you in the ring.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And I'll roll my look for the promo.
If you wanted to add any more to that, it might be useful to know that Yara used to be a swimmer and have a aquatic theme.
Oh, that's a good point. Thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the ring. Because it's a real good thing that you know how to swim. You're going to be taking a big old swan dive before I'm through with you.
Yeah, nice.
And rolling look for a promo.
Yeah, so 2d6 plus your look.
That is an 11.
Nice. On a 10
Ooh.
plus, you connect with the audience. Gain +1 momentum and pick from one from the list.
Okay, so
You could
upping
gain
my
even more momentum, or you could gain heat, or you could add a stipulation.
I think I'm going to take another momentum. I feel like we're going to be using a lot of it.
Sure. Cool. And then who's up next?
It'd be Shandy.
Sure.
3 men start this fight. 3 men are gonna walk away from this fight, and it ain't gonna be anybody from a gem-encrusted mine to a to a sea-salted, stained floor. We're gonna make you bleed. We're gonna squeeze those gems so tight they'll bleed blood. And when we're done with you, we're gonna throw you out so the sea can wash your filth away. And maybe the world as itself will complain about your garbage stinking up the ocean. We came here to show the world that we rule this roost. You're no different. I'm going to keep my eyes out for all of you out there. Hexamite, when you get in that ring, I'm going to make sure you leave a bloody mess.
I am choosing to believe that you mispronounced Hexagonite's name on purpose.
Yes. Because how many times did that chair shot do that brain damage? Oh, I don't know.
Hexadecimal, you're in deep stuff.
I will get a 7 because I'm going to spend a
Nice, so-
momentum to raise that up.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, if you get a 7, that only
No, I rolled a 6, so I'm going to use one of my 2
okay.
momentum to make it a 7.
Okay, sure. That makes sense. And then what are you gonna pick?
I will pick Heat.
Cool. And just talk amongst yourselves backstage for a second.
Okay.
As soon as the red light on the camera is off, I immediately turn to Joe and go, I'm sorry about the dumb hillbilly thing.
Hell, that's fine, son. I went to Oxford. Drove right by it.
You get them every time with that one, man. I love it every time. All right. Jimmy. That was actually one of the better promos I've done. I think those mic lessons I've been getting from Buckman have actually been coming out handy.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, kind of a little uneasy at my stomach here on this big old boat, but I mean, I think it's pretty good. I enjoyed walking around. There's a couple people I scared the hell out of. It really opened up the bar area pretty nicely. Really.
I mean, I appreciate that one. We could actually have a meal in peace.
Well, yeah, there is that.
Don't get me wrong. It's great to see the fans, and I like the fact that we have to play the bad guys here because it's how you do when you go to another promotion.
Yeah.
But it is always kind of nice being that way sometimes.
So I'm gonna look over to the kid. So you got your grand entrance figured all out?
Yeah,
Which-
yeah. I'm gonna talk to the tech team. Figure we'll do some big laser light thing, make it look all flashy.
As you say that, a backstage member comes and says, "All right, we're ready for your grand entrance in 5. So you'll get backstage." And so while you've been having this conversation, we cut to Elector. And Elector's like, "Wow, those were some powerful comments being shot at our wrestlers by these international interlopers." You hear the crowd cheering. Now you may have noticed that the that Shining Ryan Star mentioned uh, mentioned something of our new ring. Now, you know that this is a special match, that this is a Titanic throwdown, but we haven't really mentioned what that means. And as they say that, it cuts to a wide shot. It cuts to a close up of our co-consuls, the towering comrade and the flamboyant Uno, and they sort of look at each other, smirk, and then nod to the camera as their eyes glow with a cheesy 90s supernatural movie eye glow effect that doesn't really
Nice.
line up properly. And then the camera pulls out and pans down towards the bottom of the ship, and we see a ring suspended via huge cables over a empty void and then the void begins to uh, fill with water as this mechanical grinding door sound plays, and then we see the comrade. We hear comrade's voice as he says, "We have used the greatest of Soviet engineering to create this wrestling marvel. The ship shall open into the depths of the ocean, and should the wrestlers be thrown over the ring, they will drown and be pulled to their death." uh, and and then we cut back to this hole that is now full of water, um, and we see the lights of the arena start to flash, and music sound. Who's coming out first?
Hmm.
If
Okay.
I may, I've
Yes.
got I've got a bit for this.
Sure.
Go for it.
Bing! This match is scheduled for Splashdown. Introducing first from crap. What was damn it? I already screwed up the bit.
From somewhere in America.
There we go. Ooh, we don't give a damn.
Yeah, it's the International Quarterly
Yeah.
Hurtfest. We don't care about Americans.
Introducing first, the Shining Orion Star.
Nice. And the laser light show that Ryan asked the tech team for starts going off as a metal cover of Earth, Wind, and Fire's Shining Star starts blasting over the loudspeakers. And he walks in with the hood up, with the mirrored shades on and everything, fist pumping to the crowd, does some dramatic turnaround and point at his back stuff to point to his big logo on the back of his outrageous jacket is a big silver star with big calligraphy, Shining Ryan Star written on it. It's horrible.
Cool.
He walks across the gangplank and hops straight onto the turnbuckle, mugging at the crowd the whole way down before finally hopping down from the turnbuckle into the ring.
Cool. That sounds like you might be trying to work the audience.
I am so working the audience.
All right. Well, roll me plus audience.
That is a 6. I'm going to spend 1 of my momentum to make that a 7 and take a momentum back just so that I don't lose the opportunity to work the audience later.
Cool. A net gain of 0 audience. Wonderful. And who comes out next?
So there's an LED screen in the background, and you see some footage that was shot earlier with Moonshiner Joe. He's sitting there in his swim trunks, showing off his grand physique. He has 2 little floaties just on his arms that are just like straining. There's a woman. She's holding a parasail and it blows into the water. He jumps into the water, and then you see a gigantic, obviously CGI shark swallow him up. Cut. That shark is that nice Hollywood, Steven Spielberg style shark is laying on the gag plank or the plank, and you see something squirming around on the inside. You see a fist punching and stretching through the latex. You see another fist punching and stretching, and finally the gigantic jaws are lifted open, and Moonshiner Joe steps out covered in seaweed and still his swim trunks and the floaties. He steps out of the shark, pulls out a stringer, shoves it through its mouth, and ties it up at the edge of the plank, and then walks to the ring while Hank Williams Jr.'s A Country Boy Can Survive with a edited even in a large body of water. And he struts into the ring.
Nice.
Without
Walks into the ring, looks over at the nice shining star, and goes, "That's how you do it, youngin'."
and without missing a beat, the ring announcer goes, "He is accompanied by the heavyweight champion of the world, Moonshiner Joe."
Hailing from Possum Holler, Kentucky.
What a name for a place.
As soon as Moonshiner gets in the ring, the synth music starts playing as "Dare to Be Stupid" by Weird Al hits the speakers.
Woo!
And
God, I forgot that was
yeah,
a song that exists.
yeah. It's only the synth music playing. So, entering in from the audience, coming in from the stands himself will be Shandy. Shandy standing, going down a few steps with Nameless Enforcer on both shoulders, holding up the tag team titles, and they will proceed through the fans, those booing him, cheering, moving through him. One guy throwing, beer, he takes the beer, swigs it, throws the empty, throws the empty cup back at him for jumping onto the gangplank and walking across. And the Nameless Enforcer moves over to the non-attendance section, out of the way so no one can throw stuff at him, and without missing a beat. And finally, one half of the World Tag Team Champions, Shandy Isle.
Yeah, and there's a lot of booing and stuff coming from the crowd. It seems people don't hate your entrances, but they're a little annoyed at how mundane they are in terms of not having a magical element.
Yeah.
Boys need a bigger boat.
And so it's actually working to make you to sell that thing of, oh, look at these upstarts. They don't even have sorceress powers to help them fight.
Nice.
And so the gangplanks pull away, and above the audience seating, there's a ring of catwalks, and we see the lights go up on them, and there's all of these wrestlers there. There's about 40 wrestlers standing on these catwalks, and you can see that some of them are more well lit than others. There are familiar faces amongst it. The camera is panning around them. We see the monstrous mighty Waverlight, a towering man covered in strange green pustules and jutting bits of gemstones sticking out of them. that is very clearly made of foam. Uh, hexagonite, lit by this pinkish purple light. A a a wiry woman, uh, wearing some tights and having pink glitter all over their face. And it cuts to, and we see some footage rolling as this happens. We see Waverlight looking to the Azure Fist, the Azure Fist nodding as Waverlight pushes this large piece of purple hexagonite gemstone into Hexagonite's eye, who at the time was known as Pinkakume. Uh, and then cuts to them, these two fighting together as a team, a tag team. We see Dirty Claymore chugging beers in some jungle, as they and then sort of transitions to showing them standing there on top of this catwalk, drinking some kind of cocktail. We see Razor, the time traveling mech pilot, stranded in our time with only their skills as a wrestler to keep them alive. And then we see Psycho Susan, who is a surprisingly calm person for someone named Psycho Susan, because she's not mentally ill, as some might think from that name, because we don't do that here at IQH. No, she's called Psycho Susan because she has psychic wrestling powers. She is capable of wrestling only with her mind. As well as several other wrestlers, some encrusted with gems, others not. And finally, our camera pans to Yara, this lithe, athletic individual, wearing a sports bra and some like bike shorts. They're just it's just a sort of a navy blue. They don't have any like adornment to them, and they just stare out across the catwalk. And then you see them point to their eyes, and then point to Ryan. And then they
yeah, I brought that on myself.
And then from nowhere they grab this microphone, and they say something in Egyptian, and then a translator says, and then we hear Electra say, "Oh my God, such foul language from Yara."
I'm just turning to Shandy and Moonshadow going, do either of you speak Arabic? I don't speak a word of Arabic.
Shandy will reach down, pull up a microphone, tap it a few times.
Yes, I did say she said something in Egyptian. I do mean the Egyptian.
Like ancient Egyptian.
No. I don't mean ancient Egyptian. I mean the Egyptian dialect of Arabic, which is more accurate to say than Egyptian, because Egyptian is, they speak a lot of languages in Egypt.
It's true. It's also true that Egyptian Arabic is very different from Syrian Arabic, so
Indeed.
Let's see. We've already done cut a promo, so what could we do here?
Speak Arabic. Hell, I can barely speak English.
There's no such thing as too many promos.
That's fair. I wouldn't mind cutting another promo real quick.
Sure.
Since
we do have to get to wrestling soon.
Oh no. This is basically just is just the call to action.
Yeah.
So it's just a real quick thing. So it's just hit the microphone real quick. Say, I appreciate you lot up there magically staying away from the three normal people down here, but eventually you gotta come down and face us mortals and get your asses kicked. Now get down here. and throw the mic down.
Don't worry, Shandy. I got a magic trick up my sleeve. You'll see it later.
All right, roll your promo.
All
If it
right,
involves the Colonel, I'm very scared.
I will get a 7 because my work is -1. My look is -1, so I will get another 7.
Cool. What are you
Oh,
picking?
you should have told me. I would have cut the promo for you.
No, it's fine. You had Ryan look, so I just Shannon went, okay, let me take the mic. Cool. One thing I can do that you're not doing yet. Woo.
All right, so what are you picking?
Let's go with momentum because we're probably gonna need that.
Sure. And as you say that, the camera, the big screen shows you shouting this out, and then it cuts to our co-consuls, and they place their hands, a hand each, onto the Azure Jewel, this big blue piece of glass, and it turns red, the color of ruby, as is the signature of our two new ruling sorcerers. And we see the lights illuminating the ring of wrestlers go red, and they all seem to like flex and shake like Dragon Ball Z cast members as they all start to shout and scream with power, and the whole ship shakes, and the from the subwoofers, as this mystic tone seems to sound through the vessel, and the red light starts to fill up the crowd, and a smoke starts to filter in down, and the gangplanks pull away from the ship, and then we hear Uno say, "All right, you think you're so wonderful? We're gonna let you go first. Pick 3 wrestlers to come into that ring first up. Who is gonna be your Punisher?" And you get to
You
pick
guys want to
3
embarrass them real
wrestlers.
quick and just call out the 3 guys that we got to face out?
I mean, everything after that is icing on the cake. So
Yeah.
That sounds good. Bring that big
Yeah.
sumbitch down here.
Sure. So, what names do you call out?
So the 3 named people we got to go for were I
the
only got
mighty Wavelite, Hexagonite, and Yara.
Cool. And do you just say those 3 names?
I think our characters will call each one that we mocked in our promos earlier.
Yeah.
Cool. So each take it in turns to call out these 3 individuals. And we see close-ups on them, and they're grinning. And then I think we see Yara jump up onto the. My chair's a bit squeaky. Yara jumps up onto the handrail, and I think a very observant viewer can see someone clip something onto the back of them. Like someone's hand brushes against the back of Yara, and then we see Yara do like a swimmer's dive off the top of this catwalk, and they seem to slow. It's pretty dark and hard to see them, but they seem to slow down, and then something like clicks, and they fall, and they grab the turnbuckle, and then heave themselves up and land in the ring. And then they just sort of
What?
at Ryan, as we cut to green smoke erupting out of the ring, and then hear a thud. You, the wrestlers on the stage, hear a thud. The audience hear nothing as they're screaming and shouting. And as the smoke clears, Waverlight is standing there, this towering, monstrous fiend, with their green pustules and mineral growths. And then finally, we see Hexagonite jump off the railing, spin in the air and fall down, grab the railing, and then like fling themselves around it and do a somersault down into the ring, sliding along the one of the ropes anchoring the ring in place, sort of twirling around it, and then leaping into the ring, sort of sliding to a stop. These three individuals are standing there around you, and they sort of look to each other, and then Yara kind of sneers at the other two, and then Waverlight and Hexagonite nod. And there seems to be an accord. You three will I think you three should begin with control, I think. Hang on, let's go down and look at the mechanics for this type of match. Basic regal. So whenever a player makes the wrestling move, replace the normal results with this one. So when you make a wrestling move, you instead use the results table for in the wrangle, but other than that, the wrestling move is the same. Like, you still choose how you make it the same. So I'm actually going to copy this text down. Creative can introduce new competitors whenever they feel like it's appropriate. If the wrestler who is booked to win is about to get dumped out, Creative should reveal the finish early, but finish playing out the match. Cool. All right, so let's just copy the wrangle moves results table over to here. Easier for me to see. Just make it wider, and then we'll scroll back up to normal wrestling. So, who wants to make the first move?
I'll do it if no one else wants to, or has anything ready to go.
If you have an idea, go for it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think collectively, the moment the last person gets on, as they're doing that leer to each other, all three of us have rushed them and start just fighting them.
Yeah.
Just like immediately, just so the quick break is as Ryan and Moonshine take theirs off the side. Shandy starts going off against Hexamite, and let's see here. I will make a put over roll. So I roll for work and see if I can both put himself and myself over. Of course. So I roll 2 1s, and I have a +3 in work, so that's a 5. So
is it worth spending 2 momentum?
Well, the nice thing is because I'm a veteran, I have veteran instincts. So I gained an additional momentum when we started the match.
Cool.
So I'm at 3. So I'm going to spend the 2, taking me down to 1 to get a 7.
All right. So on a 7 to 9, you can either retain control of the match and pick the next entrant, or you can work with someone else to throw an opponent over the top.
I will choose
opponent. In this instance, a teammate.
So I can have a teammate throw somebody over, right? Or one of my teammates
with a teammate.
Okay. Then in that case, I'll eliminate Hexamite by doing a Irish whip into the ropes, and as he's coming back to do a clothesline, I'm going to do a pop up, throw him up in the air, and then, unbeknownst to him, but we staged it this way, Moonshine's gonna come in with an overarm and throw him out.
Cool. So you throw them out of the ring, and they splash down into the water, screaming the whole way as they fall, and suddenly silent. But in that confusion, was it Moonshiner that kicked them out?
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically did a
Moonshiner,
power-
which of them were you fighting that that now has an opportunity to put the hurt on?
I say it would be Wave.
Yeah. So as you two sort of so triumphant about winning, Waverlight just is standing behind you, and we hear Electra say, "Waverlight does not look happy that their protege, their their thrall, has been tossed from the match." And we just see Waverlight raise two fists above their head and bring them down to smash you, knocking Moonshiner out of the way. Who is the next in Waverlight's carnage?
Well,
if he's staring down Moonshiner and Shandy, if he's knocked Moonshiner aside, he might as well just focus on Shandy.
Sure. So how does Shandy try to defend Moonshiner?
As the guy's going back up, Shandy will grab for both fists, and being the guy is probably a monster, starts to just do the whole throw Shandy over. But Shandy's gonna do a mock Hurricane Rana, spin the guy down, and get him into an armbar.
Yeah, so as you try to spin him down, he just resists your action. And as he is resisting, he sort of like pulls his arms aside and breaks off from you, and then I will return the control to your side.
Ah! Shandy goes flying in the center of the ring.
Yeah.
Who wants dibs?
All right.
Who would like to take the lead here?
I wouldn't mind.
Sure.
Okay.
So, Ryan, what are you doing?
So I'm squaring off with Yara over in the corner,
Yeah.
and knowing that they're stronger and quicker and a more accomplished athlete than I am, I'm trying to avoid contact
Yeah.
unless it's going to be on my terms. Which means I'd like to make a roll on one of my gimmick moves, always learning.
Sure.
When you work a match with someone you know is better than you, roll plus work.
Sure.
That is a 7. On a 7 to 9, I pick one of gain a momentum, gain a heat, or gain their respect.
Ooh.
I think I'm taking a heat. And what would my
Interesting.
starting heat be? So is this going from 0 to 1 or from 1 to 2?
I think your starting heat is. Didn't you call out Yara?
I did, but I took a momentum.
Ah, right. Well, then, yes, your starting heat would be 0.
Okay, so I'll go up to plus 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That helps.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be a lot of back and forth there
Yeah.
until I think the big spot in this cat and mouse game will actually be Ryan like doing a springboard off of the ropes to get away from Yara,
Yeah.
to get to the middle of the ring and try and cut off Wavelite during his rampage.
Yeah, so you disengage from Yara, and the audience can already see Yara is starting to get tired. Just trying to close the gap on you was a bit hard, and now she needs to cross the match. And we hear Electa say, "I can't believe this. It seems like Yara is running out of steam. The powers of the Azure Jewel seem to be affecting her. I don't know if she's going to be able to hold out." And then you come at Waverlight, and what do you do to Waverlight to make him notice you?
I think I would like to like do a low tackle and clip his knees.
Sure. So that sounds like could be I don't know. What do we think this is? If you work with your opponent to execute an amazing and memorable sequence. I don't think it's that one. I'm feeling work or power at the moment.
Well, that's the same stat for me. They're both 0. So whichever one it is, I'm doing it.
Well,
you
so
are you
is it difficult and demanding, or is it legit risk?
Um, I think this is legit risk. If I screw this up, one of us is not going to be happy.
Sure. All right. In that case, power.
I'd be much better off doing something involving look, but under the circumstances, cutting him
Oh,
off on
yeah.
his
A
run
signature
made
move
sense.
or something that demonstrates your character would be a good way to use look.
Oh yeah, I'll be getting to that at some point.
Cool. All right, roll.
That's a 7.
On a 7 to 9, pick one. You can either work with a teammate to throw someone over the top of the rope, but then they take control of the match, or you can retain control. So that doesn't mean. So if you retain control, that doesn't mean that your thing isn't effective. It just means that it didn't throw them out of the ring. It's still fucked them up.
So remind me, are both Moonshiner and Shandy on the ground right now?
Yes, they're probably getting up because you two have narrative. Yeah. Well, so it occurs to me you have narrative control at the moment, so
That's
you decide
true.
what they're doing.
Yep.
That is fair. So between
And you might, and a way you might do that is you might ask those players, "What are you doing while I'm doing this?"
yeah, that's a good point. So Shandy, you said that you had fallen to the mat in the middle of the ring, right?
Yep. Acting like the guy had thrown me off his arm with like little ease.
Right. And I'm swooping in to try to keep him from descending on you with a flurry of violence. Moonshiner, what are you doing in the time that we've bought for you?
All right. In the time that I've stood up and I've ran up to wave, and I have like we're just doing that like exchanging blows. Like he punches me, I punch him. He punches me, I punch him. It's just like a nonstop flurry.
Perfect. In that case, I think I'm going to use my 9 to need to work with someone to throw an opponent over the top. They're going back and forth and just huge hard hitting blow, reel back, huge hard hitting blow, reel back. Then I come in, clip wave in the back of the leg. He goes down onto one knee, and Moonshine takes that opportunity to grab him and just gorilla press him off to the side.
Nice. And then I think we hear from the skybox, we hear Comrade say, "I knew we couldn't trust Azure Fist's flunkies." And then we see, I think we see Psycho Susan come into the match because I really want to see what psychic wrestling looks like.
Oh no!
I know
hope you've all
exactly
been
what to
practicing your pantomime.
do. I'll link something in the chat in a minute, but let's keep going.
So I think we hear like cellos and violins play discordant music as we see Psycho Susan lowering down into the ring on very excellent wire work, obscured by red mists. And she lands in the middle of the ring, and the smoke and the lights flicker, so that she has time to remove her wires. And then she's standing there in the middle of the ring, and we see her like put her hands either side of her head, kind of like that one Dragon Ball Z character
Yep.
with the eyeball in the middle of his head, kind of like that.
Yep.
They're looking towards you, and they're gonna try and push you back into the ring. The three of you, they're going to try and push you back into the turnbuckle.
So is this going to be a roll look kind of thing when we
I'm going
do
to go
these
with
moves?
roll look, and even though normally you wouldn't roll in Powered by the Apocalypse, I recently saw an article from Vincent Baker, who wrote Apocalypse World, who said that he doesn't know why other Powered by the Apocalypse writers don't roll. in their games, because that worked for Apocalypse World, but it's not necessarily true for your own game. And so, taking Vincent's advice, I'm going to roll.
This is the first actual play I've been involved in that had a works cited page. That's awesome.
So that's an 8. So 7 to 9, they need to work with someone. Or they retain control. I think it's more retain control of the match than extension. I'm interested to give you all back control. So I think that they push you back, and then Yara comes from out of nowhere, seemingly using the last of their strength, or calling on an unseen reserve, I suppose, to come close, and we hear Electa say, "Oh my goodness! It looks like Yara's found enough strength to go for the butterfly body grip," and we see Yara's 2 arms like come over like she's doing some kind of butterfly stroke, and then they grab one of you. One of you is getting thrown out of the ring. Who is it?
I can only assume it's me. I've been antagonizing Yara since I got here.
Well, it's up to the 3 of you which you think is going to be the most interesting play.
If I may, between the 3 of us, I had an idea for if we could roll, if we roll, we do an elimination. It's all 3 of us that eliminates them.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be, say, Yara's coming in, clothesline from me, gets back up like that was nothing. Then from the turnbuckle shoots Ryan, who hits him with a double kick.
Right. Okay. I understand the confusion here. So I'm choosing. They need to work that. Psycho Susan needs to work with Yara in order to eliminate one of you.
Oh, okay.
So
yep.
I'm letting you, the players, choose who gets eliminated now.
Okay.
And I mean, you can always break the rules of the match later and come back in, like whatever. I don't care.
I mean, if anyone has momentum, we could choose to just interrupt, and as they're trying to eliminate us, we steal the spot and just eliminate them.
Yeah, I've got 3 momentum. I haven't actually spent any of it yet.
I've taken out 2 people. I feel like Moonshiner Joe is a target, and I kind of like what was suggested earlier about maybe coming back and stuff like that. So remember I told you I had something up my sleeve? Okay.
Yeah.
It's me.
You want to be eliminated?
I'll be eliminated, but don't be surprised if, you know.
Yeah, cool. So Yara grabs you and is like crushing your ribs. And then they sort of like pull their hands apart, and we see like a flashing light, and a spotlight of like blue and green strobing light is shone on you. And you know that this means within that you are meant to be behaving in such a way like your soul is being ripped from your body.
Okay.
Now, I do want to point out, just to make sure you know you have the option, it says that we can spend 1 momentum to use the interrupt move to avoid elimination.
I got an idea. I'm cool. I appreciate it. I'm also a heel. I could pretty much spin a point and then, hey, you know what you planned? Nuh-uh. So
that's
a good point.
But no, I got something in mind. So yeah.
So how do you do this and then fall out of the ring, I guess?
Okay, so I do my. Out of curiosity, I want to see how well I make this look. So I'm going to roll look. I have 0 in it. And apparently I'm a Shakespearean actor because I wrote it in.
So you really sell it.
Yeah. So, like, you know, it's like I'm reaching into myself, trying to hold I'm kind of doubling over in the ring. And then I'm like, I sling my arms out like I'm trying to grab my soul. And I like this movement, this battle keeps going further and further until finally, as I near the edge of the ropes, I throw my hands open wide and fall over backwards.
And you splash into the water.
Yeah, something is. I'm heard saying something like, but the announcers can't pick it up. What did he say? And then, you know, 2 gone.
Brilliant.
The lone from the colonel off on the side.
Awesome.
Brilliant. Yeah, cut backstage to the colonel looking concerned.
Just the hard cam, just the colonel just staring at the screen.
Just a close up on a chicken's eye. It's not at all.
A little tear
And I think
trickles
the
down.
crowd gasps at the amazing display. And now,
Oh, please tell me that commentary is putting over the chicken. Like, oh, look at the pain and anguish in the chicken's eyes. This chicken is dealing with such great loss.
this is going to raise so many questions back home. Will the colonel take up the mantle and seek revenge?
Moonshiner
I
Colonel.
can't wait for my next IQH character to be a man in a chicken suit claiming to be the colonel from a timeline in the future.
What's best about that is it's a man. It's gonna have to be a man in a chicken suit in a hillbilly suit.
Mhm. It's like, I did it for you, Pa. I trained all my life.
Oh, I
you got
love it.
you got like a montage from like the original Ninja Turtle movie, like where Splinter's mimicking his master's moves in his cage, and you have this little chicken doing that. Like,
So,
It's beautiful.
so we return control to you two.
Yes.
As Yara's like heaving at the edge of the ring, and we see Psycho Susan sort of like dancing with their arms moving in like mystic poses, I guess. And we can hear this like discordant music playing as they seem to be attempting something, but you'll have narrative control. So what happens next?
Hmm.
Do we want to try and eliminate Psycho Susan or Yara?
Well, I think I personally benefit more if we eliminate Yara, but I think it makes better narrative if we can't continue as long as Psycho Susan is in the ring. So I leave it up to you.
Let's deal with the Susan aspect because we could do that. Make a good narrative with that.
Yeah.
So then, you acted. I'll take up this one.
Okay.
All right.
So I'll be selling the psychic onslaught and flopping like a fish in the corner.
Is she still floating above the ring, or just above, or is she in the
No,
match?
she's in the ring because it would be dangerous to have her still on wires.
All right. Then Shandy will make a pained dash towards her as her psychic powers are tossing him, making him fall, but still rushing towards her until it appears he's able to somehow fight through the pain, get her up on his shoulders.
Cool.
Into a fireman's carry, and she's going, "What? How dare you!" And he's going to do a not copywritten adjustment of attitudes.
A personality changer.
There we go. The personality changer.
A temperament tempter.
So
A mood modifier.
The mood modifier. There it is.
the ambient.
So with my bonuses, I roll a 6. Assuming I can roll for work, that'll be a 9.
Nice. So Electra's up in the box like, oh my god, he's given her the mood modifier.
Let's see. Rolling on the match specific rules. Does that mean I can eliminate?
Yes.
Okay.
So with a 7 and 9 on the wrangle, you can take her out and lose control, or you can retain control and pick the next entrant.
I will lose control, but take her out, so that way freeing us from the pain we've been experiencing.
Excellent.
I will.
How do the two of you work together to get rid of Psycho.
Ryan.
So I think once Susan is in the grip of the mood modifier, I make a big show of like suddenly stopping flailing on the ground and do a big kip up. Yes, I'm revitalized because I'm not having my brain scrambled anymore. And were you dumping her onto the apron or just into the ring and then out after that?
Let's say I'm getting her up, do a quick spin, and slap her down at the south end of the ring. South end of the ring. So it'd be a kind of a half charge for you to get to her.
Okay. So I'm thinking after getting up and showing that yes, I'm renewed, just a running drop kick.
Cool.
So
Excellent.
when she's off balance from this big finishing move, just drop kick, knock her off.
Yeah, nice. So you like drop kick her out of the ring, and she flies into the water and disappears. And then we have Yara standing there heaving, desperate for power, and she reaches up towards the skybox, and then we see we on the big screen we see the co-consuls sort of like smile, almost like parents being like, yes, you did very well. Okay. And then two wrestlers who you can't quite recall the names of grab ropes and swing into the ring. One of them has swords that seem to wibble wobble a bit as they twirl them around themselves. And the other one is dressed like an MMA fighter. You do remember the routine, but you just can't quite remember their names.
That is fine.
Sorry to interrupt. As they land in, Shandy will quite audibly shout, "God damn helicopter parents!"
Nice. On the subject of interrupting, I would like to spend a momentum and interrupt Yara.
Nice.
I'm going to take advantage of her dropping her guard and throwing arms out to turn around from this drop kick and use my signature supernova super kick to try to just knock her out of the ring.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you've got an interrupt, so go for it. What are you rolling with? Look? Yeah, look.
Yeah.
It's your signature.
Oof. So that is unsuccessful. But let's see here. My choices are spend. Okay. So that's a
So did you
6.
botch?
Yeah, it's a 6.
So
I could spend 1 momentum to make it a 7. Otherwise, I'll on a botch. You're taking over the top rope. Spend a momentum to stay in the ring or get dumped
On a
out.
botch, you get taken to the top rope. You can spend one momentum to stay in the ring, or you get dumped out and gain heat with whoever dumped you.
So I. Yeah, I think I'm just going to spend the momentum to turn it into a 7 to 9.
Sure. So on a 7 to 9, pick one. Yeah, I'd like to try to eliminate Yara. Sure. So I'm going to say you throw them out of the ring, and they grip hold of the rope, and we see that red light shine on them, and it starts to pulse. How does someone help you get rid of them?
Oh, as they clinch the ropes, Sandy starts making a beeline for him. The two wrestlers that just came in turn around to see him. He knocks them down momentarily before rushing over and doing and just ramming Yara with his elbow, just knocking him off the rope.
Yeah, and Yara flies back into the water, like screaming as they fall, reaching up towards you, and splash down. And we can see them fall under the waves, despite their strong swimming ability.
So, here is a question.
Yeah.
Earlier, I cut a promo where I said, I'm looking forward to facing you because you're going to take a big old dive into the water out of that ring.
Yeah.
I have a move
Yeah.
from the Golden Boy. I am the future. When you keep a promise or follow up through on a threat you've made on camera, roll plus look.
Yeah, go for it.
Awesome.
Well thought out, man.
That is an 8. So on an 8, I pick one. I'm going to pick gain 2 momentum.
Sweet. Yeah, and I think on the big screen we see that video roll of you saying that, and then
big old swan dive out of that ring.
Yeah, and then like cuts to a close up of you like leering over the ring down into the waters as the other two wrestlers give you plenty of time to finish your work as they get up off the ground all woozy. And I think at first our MMA fighter flies towards you.
Oh yeah, I'm leaving myself wide open.
They do land a kick, but I want to know how Ryan takes the kick without being knocked out of the ring.
So I'm picturing Ryan showboating by like grabbing onto the top rope with both hands with one foot like up on the middle rope and just shouting down over the edge. Yeah, I told you that was what was going to happen. This MMA fighter comes up behind Ryan and like a knee to the back or something, flipping him over the top rope, but he's still holding on.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And just sort of dangling there.
And then I think our sword boy, twirling their swords, comes in towards Shandy to try and separate the two of you. And he's smacking his swords against you, and they're leaving red bloody marks on you because these are very well made props because we don't don't stinge here on that. And they're cutting you to ribbons. How do you sell it?
I'm selling it as I'm trying to guard myself. The cuts happen. And I just start to go down. I start backing up, but I keep stumbling, just like like he's actually cutting me to ribbons.
And they sort of like twirl their blades up into the air, and then they like fling their arms wide, and the swords fly off the ring, and then like the lights go down for a second, and then come back up, and they're holding this huge like scimitar above their head now with two hands. Because we're fucking here for theatrics at IQH. And they're going to bring it down on you. How do you survive at the last minute?
As the lights go down, Shandy just beforehand has lifted his hands up as if he's trying to come down, put him in a boxer stance. Lights go down. That's the cue. Unbeknownst to everybody, the nameless enforcer at that cue has started to run across the ropes holding up the ring. And as the lights come up, as the scimitar is going up, on the turnbuckle, jumping off to do a Superman mega punch, is the nameless enforcer.
And I think we hear Electra say, "Oh my goodness, who's this from outside the ring? It's the nameless enforcer!" And he just fucking socks this guy in the face. And the dude goes down, his sword clatters, and he's just crawling towards the edge of the ring. And I think then our MMA guy sort of twirls around and goes for like a very dramatic yet slow roundhouse kick to Ryan. And they're gonna try and roundhouse kick you out of the ring. And let's see how that plays out. This is their signature. This is their signature kick. What is it called? What is it called? Ah, yes. It is called the Dragonfire Spinning Crane Spinebuster.
Well then.
Elector announcing that. Oh my god, he's going for the Dragonfire Spinning Crane Spinebuster! I don't know if this young upstart can survive. However, you do. And you take narrative control as you overcome the Dragonfire Spinning Crane Spinebuster. How do you do that?
Ooh. Okay, so. Oh, I know what I'd like to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm dangling like a fish from this top rope. I've got this big Dragonfire Spinning Crane kick coming at me. I would like to flip myself back over the top rope so that the kick misses.
Sure.
And land. Well, I don't know. That might be too athletic. I do only have a work of 0. So since I'm not sure I can actually propel myself past my opponent, I think I'll just counter with a head scissors and use that to get myself back in the ring.
Sure. Yeah, no,
Ooh.
that works. And now you have narrative control. So where do we go from here?
Excellent. So Shandy and the Nameless Enforcer are over on one side with this guy with the swords, right?
Yeah. Well, sword.
Sword.
Although
Well,
his
yeah.
sword is separated from him now.
Yep. If you don't have anything, I was going to roll one of Shandy's specific moves called sympathy, sympathetic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. If
Okay.
you have an idea, I'm happy to give you control.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Tell us
Yep.
what that-
So, it's Ryan starts to battle away against the shoot fighter. The Nameless Enforcer now is holding back the sword wielder, but Shandy is going to be selling the cut, the blade wounds he's suffering from, and just kind of stumble and breathing heavily, just kind of stumble onto the mat like he can't really do anything. So sympathetic is roll plus work instead of audience. When you make a work the audience move, so I'm technically working the audience.
Sure.
So I rolled a 7 plus my work is a 3, so that's 10.
Damn.
Nice.
Okay.
So, work the audience.
You used to be a jobber.
You work the audience. You got a 10?
10.
You get them on your side, you gain 2 momentum.
Sweet.
These people feel for your plight, you know? They're here for it.
Maybe supernatural powers give our men an unfair advantage.
Maybe these people have taken some of the Azure Fist's power. Maybe they are avatars of our fallen god of wrestling.
Ooh.
Maybe that's why this individual. And I think on the screen, we see we see this clip of we see you like enduring these wounds, and then it like sort of fades, and Elector's like, this is an amazing, beautiful display of just pure heart. And it sort of cuts to this early clip of the Azure Fist fighting against Axe Attack in the 80s. and Azure Fist is bleeding, and we see him reach down and pick up his signature gem encrusted knuckle dusters. And you see him shake his head, and then we cut back to Shandy, weeping these wounds, weeping. What do you do?
Take. Yep.
What do you do?
He grits his teeth. Slams down his right fist first. Steadies himself wobbly before putting down the left fist. Gets up and makes a beeline for the. Let's see here. Hang on. He'll make a beeline for the swordsman who is holding his own against, if not besting, the nameless enforcer.
Yeah.
Before making a just trying to clothesline him. And gonna see if he can't try to eliminate him. Just a mad burst of super, just like power just from nowhere. Let's see here. So normally I try to make it be a work, but this one is playing off the whole getting up and overpowering somebody. I'm going to roll for power.
Sure.
Let's see here. I will roll a 5, and I'll spend the 2 momentum I got to raise it up to a 7. Nice. I rolled a +0, so that'd be, if I recall, you said it would be a 7 to 9 is eliminate somebody, but with the help of another wrestler, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then it will be Shandy knocking the swordsman over the rope, but failing to do so as the guy holds on. Shandy looking horrified that his burst, that the last bit of energy that he had just fails. Guy's up there ha-haing when a heel kick from the nameless enforcer just nails him, sending him sprawling to the depths below.
Nice.
Quick question here. Have all of the recipients of the Azure Fist power, have they all been eliminated yet?
No, there are other members that have the Azure Fist power. Those two were just that came in before were just the most notable.
Okay.
Yeah, but we eliminated the 3 we had to call out.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to think of like my next little move.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you could call out the co-consuls.
Well, I mean, you just throw something out there. I have whenever it's convenient. I mean, I'm happy to sit here and enjoy. I just don't feel like I can be a guest commentator as I'm floating in Davy Jones's locker.
Well, I do. Well,
certainly not as Moonshiner Joe.
I do think that we look up at the clock above hand, the timer, running down, and we hear Electa say, "Oh my goodness, I completely forgot to check the timer. There's only so little time left. If our stable can't defeat these interlopers in the next 90 seconds, then I don't know what our co-consuls are going to do. We might see mass cuttings of wrestlers from the league. This could create a power imbalance. Who will lose the blessing of the Azure Jewel? Who will the co-consuls allow to keep it? Especially if the winners of this match turn out to be foreign interlopers. We are drawing to a close. The match is meant to end with y'all winning, so that creative can set up a whole new narrative arc for the league, where we have so that we can have some underdogs trying to take the power of the Azure Jewel, and we have the loyalists defending their power.
Okay.
Nice. We're making way for a new wave. I get it.
Sweet.
So,
All right.
show me how you win. And do it with dramatic flair.
Oh,
And perhaps a mystic edge.
Ooh,
Oh.
I,
go ahead, Adam. You haven't said a whole lot.
no, just throw someone in the ring for me on this one here. I got something for you.
An
Like who's
enemy?
in? Yeah, who's the enemy?
Sure. So, who did you guys just throw out?
We threw out the swordsman, leaving the shoot fighter.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we have our MMA dude still here. I think let's bring in. I think we see Razor jump into the ring with their bionic arm and their bionic legs and their bionic hair, which is just a silver dreadnought.
Silverhawks.
And then I think we see. Do I still have that big list of gemstones up?
I'm sorry, bionic hair?
Yeah, bionic hair. No, bionic hair. You know bionic hair. You've seen bionic hair
Go, go.
before, surely.
Oh my god, yes I have actually.
Go,
Go,
gadget
go.
hair.
Go, gadget bangs.
They're wearing cyberlocks, aren't they?
Yes, very similar. I think we then see. Give me a letter.
Q.
Q. Gemstones that start with Q.
Quartz.
I don't know if there are any.
It's pretty much quartz and quartz derivatives.
Sorry, I didn't know the name escaped.
That's okay. Ooh, what's rock crystal? It's
Other than a great name
rock
for
crystal. Yeah, okay, sure. Rock crystal. When you click on rock crystal, it just links to quartz. So, not rock crystal.
Ooh, quartz is the ancient evil that's been lurking behind corrupting the azure. No, I'm just throwing that in there.
That's all right. That's not terrible. Apparently,
It-
flint is a type of quartz. I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't either.
that is very weird.
All right, give me a different letter. Quartz.
M.
I messed this one up. Go.
What? M?
There's got to be something under M.
There's a lot under M. What do we got here?
Let's see, we're talking about stones. I think malachite is a stone.
Malachite is a stone. You are correct. What's magnesite? Magnesite kind of looks a bit like gold quartz, which is interesting. Yeah. Okay. So moissanite jumps in, and moissanite is a bit of a jokester, a prankster. They're covered in like a black metallic body paint, head to toe, and their eyes are like pretty large, and they've got kind of like teased out hair, and they jump into the ring, and they're sort of like doing backflips and cartwheels, and one of them just puts a hand on your if you've ever seen, you might have seen a clip of this dude like a boxer like dancing around, and then he just sort of like lightly pops this guy in the face. It's sort of like that. He's Moissanite is just sort of like moving around the ring, and then he just like walks up to Shandy and he gives him a light slap on the face, and then he like shuffles away, and then he shuffles back up, and then he sort of like taps you on the chest. And it's not hurting you, but it's insulting you. It's infuriating that this little pipsqueak thinks they can win a fight by giving you little love taps. And then he sort of like dances around you, and then he dances back, and then he like backhands you in the face.
He's Bizarro World me.
And then I think all the while this is happening, we see We see Razor like twisting knobs on their arm, and then their arm like rockets back, elbow cocked, and then they sort of like get their hand up, and they've sort of made like an L shape with their left hand, like it's some kind of targeting thing, and they're like trying to line you up so that they can hit you with their rocket propelled fist.
Mm.
If is this a good time for me to
Go
jump
for
in?
it.
All right. So as the scene unfolds, like both wrestlers are like waylaying into the outsiders. Things are looking real grim. Like poor Shandy, he's he's more blood than man right now, which really is impossible if you think about it. But we'll keep going with that.
It's a good line.
And things are looking horrible, grim. And then all of a sudden, the lights start flickering, and then it's complete darkness. On the screen, you see you see a flashback. You see footage of when the Azure Fist first fought Moonshiner Joe. You see both of them engaged in just this mortal combat. You see Azure Fist beat Moonshiner Joe. You see after everything ends, you see and like the cameras are turning away. You see the Azure Fist extend his hand to Moonshiner Joe and pull him up. You see them in a locker room sitting next to the bench, on a bench, not next to a bench, and Azure Fist hands over something and drops it in Moonshiner Joe's hand, and he says, "You'll know when the time is right." You flash forward to the match that was just going on. As Moonshiner Joe was falling out of the ring, he looks towards the other wrestlers. He goes, "Wrestle, you fools!" And then he falls over into the abyss. Yes, you see where this is going. Like lightning
I
starts
can't wait for Moonshiner Joe the White.
Moonshiner Joe, the White Lightning.
Oh,
Lightning
excellent.
flashes. He's it like if lights click back on after the strobe effect. There's this the hulking figure in a white robe. He throws it off. His beard is white. His hair is white. His chicken in the dressing room is white for some reason as well. But we're not going to dwell on that. And I'm going to go ahead and start with, since I'm a heel, I can do illegal moves anyway. I'm going to start with my magic trick. He reaches into a bag that he has, throws the bag to the side, grabs a magic 8 ball, and he asks, he goes, should I hit them? And the 8 ball says, sources say yes. And he is going to throw the 8 ball into the cyborg's face.
Nice. Brilliant.
So what the hell do I roll for that?
That is definitely plus look for me.
All right.
I mean,
let's see.
if you're rolling at all, or is this the heel move where you spend 2 momentum and just make something happen?
You know what? That was such a great introduction. I will spend 2 momentum. Just so let it be written. So let it be done.
Yeah, brilliant. So you peg this fucking 8 ball and it smacks the cyborg in the head, and their hand goes down. And as their hand drops, you see their mechanical fist shoot up and lock straight. And then they sort of like turn around to you, and their arms like locked out straight now, and they're trying to like smack at you with it. Because it's going to take time before they can reset for their dramatic punch.
Nice.
What do you do with your newfound mystic power?
I will do a feat of strength. So
Right.
I will walk over, grab him by the arm, sling him up, and
Razor
I
is
am
a woman.
going. Oh, woman, I apologize.
Indeed.
I will grab her, pick her up over my shoulders like a bench press,
Mhm.
and I will just bench press, attempt to bench press toss her out of the ring.
Brilliant.
And I haven't mentioned this yet, but I have a 3 in strength. So,
Brilliant.
and I have rolled a 14.
Nice.
So like supernaturally high, weightless, effortlessly tosses out,
Yeah,
and
as you throw her, like the white strobe is flashing on her, and lightning plays on the screens, and thunder sounds through the thing. The crowd is going off. It's like the return of the Azure Fist. People are fucking going wild. Like people are remembering when the Azure Fist was just this like minor gimmick character who had like some rhinestones in their face, and then there was that one match where they got killed, and then next season they came back with all these sorceress powers, and that was the beginning of the true rise of the International Quarterly Hurtfest, when it turned from this kind of boring gimmicky thing into this supernatural wrestling phenomena. And it's just like that all over again as you throw them out of the ring. What are you going to pick for your feat of strength?
Oh, I thought the feat of strength was when I actually just bench pressed them over. But
Yeah.
The,
So
the outcome.
feat of strength is not a wrestling move. I am allowing it to count as
okay,
throwing them out, but I want
okay.
you have to pick one off of the 10 options. So you can either do it easily and gain +2 momentum, or impress your opponent and gain +1 heat with them.
I think I'll do it. Game +1 heat. I'll do that
Cool.
with my opponent.
So you throw this person out and you gain heat with the International Quarterly Hurtfest, I suppose, which will be useful when I fight you next time with an International Quarterly Hurtfest character.
Okay.
I can't wait to just send like streams and streams of wrestlers to try and take your power from you. It's like, you don't deserve it. It's gonna be like the #2 headband in Afro Samurai. I can't defeat the co-consuls until I take your power.
Awesome.
Nice.
So, you gain heat with the International Quarterly Hurtfest as the swordsman dude. Like, he just abandons trying to get his scimitar, and he just no, wait, yes, and he like charges towards you. And our no, the swordsman was tossed out, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yes. So not.
I
The
don't know what
swordsman.
we did with the sword though.
The sword is still in the ring. I remember that part. No, we see the MMA guy like spin to try and like clock you with his fist. What do you do? What do you all as a team do? As you've got the weird fucking jokester gem dude who's got a body made of gemstones, apparently, who's just sort of slapping Shandy about and being like, "Come on, can't you hit me? I'm just a little tiny boy. You can't fight me. Oh, look at you. You can't fight. Oh, somebody doesn't know how to fight."
Okay.
So
If you
I have an idea, but it sounds like so does Shandy.
Well, let's hear your idea first.
My idea was to call out the clown and challenge him to a breakdance fight to free you up to do something useful.
I mean, you've got 60 seconds, so.
Oh, okay. My idea was if we have to eliminate this guy and it's all of us, I say we do a massive takedown angle where he's throwing at me. I finally manage to grab him, throw him into a turnbuckle. The mysterious enforcer runs up, rams into him, causing him to stumble. You come in, hit him with a hurricane. Ryan comes in, hits him with a hurricane rana, to which the Moonshiner Joe ends him with a finisher.
That sounds good.
I like it.
All right, so everybody play out their roles then.
All right, so it'll start out with Shandy getting him. Get him! Get it again! Grab him. Fine! I'll throw you instead! Picks him and just hurls him over into one of the turnbuckles. You distinctly hear the "oh" as he impacts. Following suit, there is just this massive boom, boom, boom as the mysterious enforcer shoulder checks the guy back into it. And he stumbles forward.
Boom. I want you in my room. Sorry, continue.
Then Ryan, you come in. How do you deliver your move?
Yeah. So I am going to add insult to injury. Now that this guy is a little dazed, a little worse for wear, before doing the Hurricane Rana itself, I'd like to start off with a kicking combination that is really flashy and does virtually nothing.
Excellent. Love it. I'm here for it.
Doing a Kodo
And-
Bushi. Yeah.
And then do a Hurricane Rana.
Sweet. And then he slams and rolls right before the feet of Moonshiner Joe, the White Lightning.
Okay, Moonshiner Joe, the white in parentheses lightning, reaches down, picks him up, turns him around, and I'm basing this off of the Razor's Edge, which was Scott Hall when he was Razor Ramon's old move, where he just reaches up, grabs him by the armpits with back to back, grabs him by the armpits, reaches extends him up over his head, and just falls forward. But this time, when he falls forward doing what I like to call the White Lightning, he just slams him over the edge of the rope. And so instead of him meeting pavement, he goes hurling towards the abyss.
Head
And
first into the water.
and it's almost like like as he's pulling him up, you almost see like imagery, like the wrestler has like a Christ-like pose, like the arms extended as he's being lifted up over the head. And I roll a 2d6 to see how well I do the move, and I rolled a 12. So
Nice.
clean.
Brilliant. So, on a
Yeah, do you need any rolls from the rest of us?
no, we'll have so because it makes sense for Adam to have rolled, so that works. So
Okay.
with 10 plus, you retain control of the match and you pick one. You can either gain momentum, +2 momentum. You can throw an opponent over the top and gain +1 heat with them, or you can pick the next entrant to the legal wrangle. I feel like narratively, you have to pick throw an opponent over the top.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for that.
Brilliant. Gain another heat with IQH.
I think that puts me up to 2 or 3. I need to double check that.
Yeah.
It's at least 2.
So, who do we have left in the ring?
I think we just have the MMA fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. So they're sort of like there, ready, and you'll still have control. And they're sort of like standing on their guard, like ready to fight, but their heart doesn't look in it.
I wonder if we can do. You can do like the little interrupts, can't you? With like talking ones to finish it.
Oh, you want to just intimidate this guy into eliminating himself? I mean, that seems like either a power or a real sort of move.
Y'all could work the audience.
Oh, there we go.
I would allow work the audience as a way of getting people out. Like, this might be the point where like you indicate that you have broken their stable, that for all their mystic power, they weren't able to defeat a couple of mortals or something. Like, you could be directing that to the audience.
I like that.
Yeah.
The timer runs down. So what do you say? Who leads here? Is it our new hillbilly sorcerer?
It's either the arrogant prick or the hillbilly sorcerer.
Porque no los dos. Why not?
Yeah, that's fair.
Someone has to start.
All right, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna stand in the middle of the ring, arms outstretched, and just go. Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that the best you got?
Suddenly you have audio. They've probably lowered a microphone down in the shadows.
Oh yeah. Is that it? Is that the best you got? Cause we've got White Lightning.
The old White Lightning.
And then I'm going to start loudly. I'm going to point up to the timer and start loudly counting down. 20, 19, 18. I don't know, folks. I think we've got this one.
Brilliant. I'm going to allow that as the work the audience. So roll plus audience.
That's a 5, and then I'm going to blow 2 momentum to make it a 7 to 9.
Excellent. On a 7 to 9, they pop. Pick one.
Let's see. Gain a momentum or take control of the match if you're in one. Well, we're already in control of the match, I think. But if we're not, I'm taking that.
Excellent. Sure, you keep it. You keep that control. You hold it. 5, 4, 3. The camera's like panning across all of the wrestlers. What do you say when the timer hits 0?
All right. So Moonshiner, White Lightning says, "You have fallen astray of your master's teachings. Come back for me when you are ready and you are pure."
Oh.
Nice.
Ooh.
All right. See, let's see what's mine. Okay, and I'm rolling plus look, and that was a 7.
Nice. What move are we looking at here?
I was working the audience.
Sure. Do you get to use look to work the audience?
Beg your pardon,
Normally,
I'm sorry.
working audience is audience.
Yes.
Yeah, audience. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, I added that to it. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, cool. So yeah, you're working the audience. You've got them eating out of the palm of your hand. Sad music is playing as sort of like it's got a Lord of the Rings-esque quality to it. As it's like, yeah, everything's falling apart. And the gangplanks like slide back in to give and the lights come up illuminating your path out. Do you leave?
Yeah. Hey guys, let's do the leave that, or when we leave, like we're it's like when Frodo and Gandalf are sailing off at the end of the Hobbit's trilogy. So yeah, it's, if I may be so bold, yeah, we turn around without much fanfare, walk off. There's a group of people waiting on the rickety ass boat, the boat plane, excuse me, that we are going to be flying back on, and we're going back to
Yeah,
the
they shot all this footage earlier.
yeah.
Of you flying away, and as you're standing there on the about to board the plane, we cut to footage of the Azure not the Azure Fist, the co-consuls, and they say, "Thank you for showing us the weakness of our stable." And the three of you sort of like nod, and we see as we panning across the stable, we see like some of the people, some of the people that had the Azure power, and all the gem themed stable members are like sort of looking around confused, and everyone else, the non like inner circle wrestlers from the time of the Azure Fist, all start to like grin and smirk and nod, and it would appear that there was some kind of conspiracy to get rid of the old guard and bring in this new power. And with that, we close on this international quarterly Hurtfest. Yeah. Some upsets in the league, some new background and developments for your own characters returning to their leagues. Be interesting to see if you continue your White Lightning shtick. How did you all find that?
That was ridiculous.
That
And
was a
I
lot
love
of
it.
fun.
had
We
a
ran a bit
blast.
longer than we had originally planned to, but that was because we didn't have the time limiter that we thought we were going to have from before, because
Yeah.
someone wasn't able to make it. So
No,
yeah,
this was, man, my face hurts where I've been smiling and giggling here like this. I've had a blast.
this
was
is
Yeah.
what happens when you get someone that doesn't really know anything about wrestling to run a fucking wrestling game.
Well,
I'm
No,
just like, what if they were wizards?
hey man, that when it comes to pro wrestling, back in the 80s and 90s, with the whole Undertaker, like there were times when they were doing backstage skits with the Dungeon and such, and there were
Oh,
just
yeah.
mystical figures here and
I
there. And the
do
Undertaker,
remember that the Undertaker in one wrestling match attacked people with violin wizards.
Him and
So-
Kane could call down lightning at a
Yeah.
whim.
Yeah, so here's a short list of supernatural powers that either Undertaker and or Kane have had over time. Summon fire, summon lightning, possess announcers and make them speak in your voice, appear out of nowhere, teleportation of yourself and others, control electronics, summon druids, summon the undead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I assume the Undertaker is a necromancer. Like, otherwise, why is he called the Undertaker?
Well, he's both a necromancer and himself undead sometimes.
He's a lich.
Pretty much because Paul Bearer, his former manager, used to carry for him his urn of power that controlled the powers of the Undertaker.
His
Oh my god, I
phylactery.
love that urn.
Yeah, that was
Brilliant.
that's how you could both summon and empower the Undertaker.
He's
So-
like a Green Lantern.
Yeah, oh yeah. So if it's good enough for
Blackest
1989 if it's good enough for 1989 WWF, then it's good enough for IQH.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, thank you all for coming on, and I'll let you know when this is out. Does anyone have anything they'd like to plug?
Well,
Why? I think there's an exchange there.
Yeah,
where you-
kind of exchange of role playing.
if you enjoyed this, please come check out a podcast I do with several of my friends, the Role Playing Exchange. We do 2 actual plays a month and a little talky episode. And we also, if you enjoy that, we also have a Patreon where we do a Patreon only show that has a little bit to do with role playing games, but also just goofy fun. So please give it a check. And thanks again to Insert Quest here. It's always a pleasure to play with you guys.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you so much, and thank you to our 2 irregulars for coming on as well.
No, thank
Much
you.
obliged.
Yeah, it was a wonderful game. I had fun. I always have fun playing this game because it's just so fucking wild to be able to take. I don't know. There's something that I always find really enjoyable in role playing games when you describe special effects. We did a game where we played like a 1960s sci-fi kind of thing, and I was like describing how like the set that they were in looked exactly the same as the last set they were in, except it was lit differently, or how like the hold is full of tiny micro sheep. We don't see them on screen because everything's shot from the hip up, and clearly they're ankle sized. But we can hear the sheep bleating, and then as the sheep exit the spaceship, they go through a transmogrification gate that turns them full size. So we see these, we see see the sheep exiting this doorway, and then we cut to a field full of full-sized sheep. And stuff like that, like the they clip on the wire, and all the swords have the leave the blood marks and stuff like that. Like I don't know why I really enjoy doing that, but I do.
It's excellent.
More RPGs that involve actual theatrical description, I guess. But thank you all so much for playing. If you enjoyed this game, you can check out more from us. We have a couple of other wrestling games, worldwide wrestling games as well. And if you want to support Insert Quest here, we actually just published our first game. So Ray and Finn, so myself and Finn, just published a game which you can get by clicking on our store link at the top of Insert Quest Here's main site, insertquesthere.com. So please check out that. The money from that will help us do lots of stuff, but mainly help me eat. Please, I desperately wish to eat. So please support Insert Quest here. It's pay what you want, so you can pay like $1 for it, or you can pay me $100 for it. Like whatever you want. You can pay as much as you want for it. But either way, thank you so much for listening to this game, and I hope that we will see you back soon. But for now, farewell from the past. I'm Ray.